Willems, and I am teaching the Cold War through James Bond, and that includes looking at espionage and spies, and using James Bond film, other films, other lessons related to that to teach about the Cold War. I think really one of the highlights of our class is the actual spy with whom we are interacting. There's a Mount Vernon alum who's embedded with the CIA, who's actually an active spy right now. I think that's one of the neatest things. And to compare and contrast James Bond, who's not realistic, he's fun, but he's not realistic as far as espionage goes, to what modern day spies are doing. And just to have a look at who James Bond was too, and it was really transformative and different in film and in literature during the Cold War, and to be able to connect that to other Cold War events that occurred.
We're learning a lot of specifics, which is really interesting to me because I love history, and it's just overall just a really fun class, and I've actually learned a lot more than I thought it was. Originally I thought oh, I'm going to take this because James Bond and music, but I didn't realize I'd actually be learning as much as I am.
We spent some time focusing on the Beatles because that was a huge aspect of the Cold War and what Western music was doing that was different than what the East disallowed. Talked about the government influence from the Soviet Union and how that did not coincide with what was going on in the Americas. Now we're on Pink Floyd, which is one of my favorite rock bands, and the influence that Roger Waters had, he's the lead singer of Pink Floyd, what he had on the Cold War and what Pink Floyd did to inevitably change the course of Cold War history. And then we're watching a rock concert after that kind of ends the Cold War when the wall came down. The concert takes place right there in the no man's land of the Berlin Wall.
So for learners in our class, there are 4 products that they have to create that are connected to our 4 learner outcomes. The first one for me is that students have to create a collage. They have 5 characteristics of James Bond films. There's 12 to 15, but I assign them 5. They have to create a collage that shows knowledge of each of those. It's basically, we're looking at an image. The second thing they have to write is an essay that connects Cold War events to the James Bond films which we watch. And that requires synthesis, that requires thinking skills because it's not really overt, it's not direct. None of the films were made about an event. We're just connecting those, so that's where they're using their thinking skills. For Mr. Weber, they are creating an album, and it includes an album cover and music of their life connecting that idea to the Cold War.
I know that it's information that they can take from the course and that it will make them stronger if people ask them questions about, are these music facts and the things that happened in the Cold War, did you learn something? And I think I'm on the right track.
Mm-hmm.